Welcome to the Ruveiled podcast.
The Ruveiled podcast.
Yo. What's going on, everybody? Almost forgot to hit my light. Isn't that silly? Yo, let's hit this light. Yeah. Last time we was on here, Jesse was like, that beat is fire, though. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ruveiled podcast. My name is Caron, if you didn't know by now. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. This is our disclaimer here that we're going to throw out real fast. Views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests on Ruveiled podcasts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the platform hosting the podcast, i.e. YouTube, Rumble, or any affiliated individuals, organizations, or sponsors. The rest of it is there for our viewing pleasure, so please read that. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, everybody. So, today is January 17th. It's a Wednesday. Friday's episode is going to be a little different. Episode number 9, we're going to have another guest on. His name is David Rossi, so if you don't know David Rossi, go look him up on Facebook or anywhere. His name's David Rossi. Very good guy, very cool guy. We're going to hop straight into today's episode. But before we do, please make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it with your friends, and we're on the side of truth here. So the question is, are you veiled? Hence the name of the podcast, Ruveiled Podcast, like it says on the screen right now, right there. Are you veiled? That's the question we will ask today, and hopefully answer as well. So today's episode, Time is an Illusion. I was thinking about this last night when I was going to bed. Because, there's times where I'll have the idea for the podcast a little more plotted out. And then there's other times where I'm kind of like, you know what? I think I got too much going on. I'm not going to worry about it until like the night before or early in the morning. I was thinking about this last night. Time is an illusion. Time is an illusion. And the reason why time is an illusion is because the way we look at time now, time is a human construct. Time is a human construct. If you look at the Mayan calendar and you look at what we have, what we're working with now, time is an illusion. Time is an illusion. Calendars and the way that we base our time off the clock, it's all an illusion. It's not real because it's a concept that we make in our minds, So the reality is that all we have is right now, right? There is no past and there is no future. Those things respectively exist in our minds and in life. Yeah, there is such thing as past and present and future, right? There is such thing as you do something and it's already happened, right? That's simple life stuff right there, Past, present, future. Future hasn't happened yet, but we know that it's going to happen, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And then there's a whole debate right there in itself whether everything in life is predetermined and how much influence we have based off of our free will. But I digress. All we have is the now. Everything else is just a construct that is a mental construct that humans created. Like animals don't go off of it. Nature doesn't go off of it. The only thing that exists in nature is right now, right? So all we have is now. And then I want to talk about the differences between the past, present, and future mentally that we create and the truth of what the past, present, and the future is, right? So when I say the mental past, present, and future, it's like what I was just talking about, So there's someone doing something, right? And then later in their life, they reflect back on it. That's their past, right? So whatever they experienced, that is going to be what's within their memories. That's going to be what's within their past, you know? But we make stuff up in our minds, right? And as we go about our experience and we identify with it more and more, and we're not tuning into the world, because it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's also good for us to be in tune with the world and reality, because otherwise we make our own present, or we make our own past, we make our own present, we make our own future, right? Which these things are not bad, but it's also good to be in tune with the reality of everything else going on around you and not just identifying with your reality, because that's how you end up stuck in your own reality, and then you might not have the chance to see life for all it really is, So mental past versus the truth of what the past is, Like I said, we can make up our own stuff in our minds about the past and our own past, but the truth is there's always going to be some sort of objective truth. There's always going to be some sort of objective reality, whether we like it or not. It's just the objective truth of what is. There's always going to be that. So when it comes to the past, how do you identify with objective truth when we're stuck in our own truth or our own past and present and what we believe our future will be? So how do you go from being stuck in your own to being able to see the whole picture? Well, the truth is that you can try and look at things objectively and be as objective as possible. But at the end of the day, we're all individuals and we're all going to have some sort of subjective experience with reality, So time is of the essence. The time is now. And subjective and objective reality both coexist with each other. I think that's very critical, is knowing how they align and coexist with each other, because the past, the present, and the future are tools. The past, the present, and the future are tools that we can use to enhance our perception of reality, right? So subjective, obviously, that's our own understanding. That's our own, whatever we experience and believe. And then the objective is, like I said before, it's all there whether we like it or not. So the reason that these are tools is because once you understand these things, you can use them to your advantage. So knowing your own subjective opinion and perception on things, being conscious of yourself, is important if you want to be able to change it. So if you want to be able to change your current situation now, or make some sort of change to yourself, you can analyze your past, see who you've been, and don't deny it. Don't deny it. You try it. This is where the objective comes in. You try to look at things objectively outside of yourself, outside of your own normal perception and opinions and thoughts. And when you do that, you're able to see yourself in a little bit of a different lens. So when you are seeing yourself in that different lens outside of your normal thoughts and behaviors, you're able to change those thoughts and behaviors if you don't like them. You're becoming conscious. Now you're able to choose, do I go with the programming that I've been with, or do I attempt to hardwire some sort of new program? Do I attempt to, based off of how I've been, based off of my past, am I subject to, being this way? Am I subject to where this is going to lead me if I don't change? Or am I capable of change? Is it possible to change? Is it within the realm of reality to change? And it is. If you analyze yourself from the third person outside of yourself, it's a lot more easier to see things for how they really are, because there's no filter. We're like a little filter. Our mind's like a little filter. It's constantly just taking whatever is coming through it and forming its own matter about it. It's forming its own thoughts, So it's totally possible to break out of the mold. And that's where like dimensions and stuff come in too. So I know that was kind of out there and kind of random, it seems like, but it's not. So when we're talking about our mental subjective perception of past, present, and future versus the truth of what the past, the present, and the future are, this is where dimensions come into play, and it's like this. There's 0 dimensions, right, which could just be described as like a point. It's infinitely large, infinitely small. And then you have a 1-dimensional line, right? That's connected by 2 points. Okay? Now let's say you have a triangle, right? And that's made up of 1-dimensional lines. And then you have a cube, or let's say a pyramid, that's made up of those 2-dimensional triangles. So that's like dimensions, right? 1-dimensional lines are composed of 0-dimensional points that connect each other. Then there's 2-dimensional objects and shapes that are put together by 1-dimensional lines. And then you have 3-dimensional objects like a cube that are composed of 2-dimensional triangles, right? So the 4th dimension, the next axis, if you go into geometry, technically, if you take that concept, you can still keep building upon it and come up with some really amazing 4th dimensional geometry. And it takes a really long time to like studying and watching and seeing to be able to really grasp what those, how to look into those higher dimensions in the form of 3-dimensional geometry. Anyways, I digress. I'm getting sidetracked. So there's the 3rd dimension, right, which is like what we're in right now. But what's the 4th dimension? So the 4th dimension is like time and space, right? It's this field that we're in right now, and it gives the 3rd dimension a median to move through. Okay? So the next dimension from that, the 4th dimension, so the next dimension from time and space would be the 5th dimension. And if you do some research on the 5th dimension, you'll see that it's like, let me see if I can get my whiteboard. I'll just get a piece of paper. So it's like this. You have a point. Yeah, you can't see shit. See if you can see that. You have a point in space, right? So if I make one decision, it'll lead to one point. And if I make another decision instead, it'll go to that point. And if I do that, then the outcome of that could be one thing. If I make one decision, it can lead me to a place where I can make other decisions. So basically, what this fifth dimension is the ability to perceive and understand where your actions are taking you in the now. Right? So you have a point in space where you start. This is me now. If I decide to go get breakfast, right, then after breakfast, I could do this will end up happening, or this will end up happening, or this will end up happening. And then if you expand on that from each decision here, that branch continues to go out, with your decisions. But if you backtrack, if I choose to go the other way, I don't go get breakfast and I just make breakfast at home, then I am able to do this after, or I can go here, or I can. So this is the fifth dimension, is being able to see where your actions lead you in time and space, right? So this is a very overlooked thing. It's a very powerful thing. It's like literally having the ability to see into the future without seeing into the future. So the sixth dimension, right? If the fifth dimension is our decision making, right? And that sort of tree branch, then the sixth dimension is like everything that interferes with that, right? It's the outside environment. So reality isn't just this single point. That's just me. There's all these other points, right? And everybody's always making these other decisions in the outside world that could potentially influence what I got going on as well. So that's the truth of past, present, and future is not always what we think it is. The events that occur in our life, the way that they happen, and the way that they occur, it's not always what we think. It's not always what we think. So now, by the end of this video, by now, you should have a little bit more of an understanding on why time is an illusion, why the clock is an illusion, how it's basically a tool that we use to identify with where we're at in our own timelines. And you should also have a little bit of understanding of the difference between our own mental reality that we create and our own past, present, and future versus the objective reality and the objective truth of past, present, and future. And you should also understand a little bit about dimensions. So take this information and run with it. There's a lot. We're barely just scratching the surface on this stuff. This is amazing information for you to delve into and do your own research on. I'm not here to, tell everybody this is how it is all the time. There's certain things where I stand on my ground where I'm going to be like, yeah, this is how it is, And then there's other stuff like this where it's like, yo, I feel like I just have some keys. They've opened some doors for me. So here's the sauce, bro. Here's the sauce. Add it to your pasta. It'll make it taste good, So, yeah, I don't want to drag this out too much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in on this episode. Make sure you drop a follow, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Really, leave some comments. I love hearing from people. I've been getting messages from people, telling me how much they love it. I have been getting some comments and stuff. Leave some comments. It's good for the algorithm. It lets me know that you're there, and it keeps us engaged. So This is the Revealed podcast, you guys. I am super glad to be doing this. Again, since the last episode with Jesse, I've been getting tons of messages. Not too terribly much, but a handful of people that are loving the podcast and want to feature and want to come join us for the discussion. So you guys can look forward to that. We're going to be having more guests soon. I have more locals from Rock Springs. I'm hoping to have some guests from Utah. I know I have a guy from Dutch John who is interested about coming on and potentially talking about his business and talking about life a little bit. So yeah, that should be cool. We got a lot to look forward to on the Revealed podcast. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I have nothing but gratitude. I am so grateful to the Lord. I don't know what you believe, but I'm grateful to God and to Jesus that I am here right now. So I say thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Amen. And yeah, time is an illusion. Don't fall for it, man. The Mayan calendar ended in like 2012, yo. You know? And again, it's all just the time that we experience now is just a subjective means of keeping track of ourselves and where we've been and what we're doing now and where we're going, right? But the truth is that concept of time isn't what time really is, you know? And if you strip that away and you look into the depths of history, beyond American history, beyond whatever your country's history is, beyond whatever world history they're telling you about the world from the past 1,000, 2,000 years, there's more to the story. There's ancient human history that exists from thousands and tens of thousands of years ago that a lot of people don't even know about, that we're discovering, that we've been discovering in the past couple hundred years, and even longer. Stuff that people have known about that, you know, is being hidden from us. So that's the question of the podcast for the Revealed podcast, and that's why it's spelled the way it is are you veiled? That's the question. So we hope to lift the veil from some people's eyes and give you guys some amazing information that'll change your lives. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. This has been the Revealed podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Caron, and it's one love to the planet. Let's throw out our sponsors right quick. Make sure you go to www.tumor.com. I, myself, am the tumor. So if you are interested in supporting your boy and going and getting some merch, you can do that by going to www.tumor.com. I have hoodies, hats, bucket hat, shirts. I also have my music videos on there, as well as direct links to all of my streaming. I have Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, also on Amazon and all those other places that we stream music. Make sure you also go check out www.subrockrecords.com. This right here is a phenomenal source of Rocky Mountain hip-hop with exclusive artists on it, including myself, Tumor, as well as Gentry Fox, Burnell Washburn, and Chani the God. I had Chani over yesterday and we were recording, and we got new music coming out for him soon. New music for all of us coming out soon. And then, of course, make sure you go follow Revealed Podcast everywhere that you tune into social media, everywhere that you're hanging out online. It's all down here in our little media bar, as I'll call it. So that's it for today, you guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to get busy today with working out. Going to eat some food. I got some stuff to make some juice. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves and eating healthy. It's one love to the planet. I love you guys. That's all for now, man. So much love, everybody. Get this popping. Do what you love, but don't let your heart deceive you. Be good out there. Every neighbor can be your teacher.